Speed's coverage of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here. By Evan Williams, smooth bourbon, priced right. Spread the word. Brought to you in high definition by Funai. Funai, fun and innovative. Experience more at FunaiAmerica.com. And by Toyota. Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. You guessed it, still out front, Mike Wallace and Ron Hornaday. That two-truck tandem now has an 8-second lead over the pack, which is being led now by Parker Kligerman.
Guys, one thing we know now is that we have a couple groups of two that know how to get it done. Mike Wallace, Ron Hornaday, and Parker Kligerman and Talladega are making it happen right now. They have driven away from that big pack by getting hooked up.
Yeah, you'll like this. That's Ron Hornaday just holding his nose out to the right. Very smooth, very steady on the back of his teammate Mike Wallace. These two, different story. A lot of jerking around, a lot of moving around, but they're fast.
Johnny Sauter coming in second in the points, got into the wall, and now we have our next caution out. And in the 88 and the 13, both with damage. They were trying to do the two-truck tandem in the back. It didn't work.
Well, we don't know for sure, but that's what it looks like.
I can't see because of the campers. We got to tore up back in, need to bear a bond.
Wow, if that's the case, trying to figure out the two-truck tandem for a points champion, forced a mistake. But it looked like the left rear tire's blown on that 13 truck, Phil.
Yeah,
Could
I thought maybe
that started it, but
that's what I thought might have been the situation.
Oh,
there's Donnie Neuenberger's truck. Obviously, he's got a lot of damage to the right front corner. They had taken that hood off that came off the truck as he left pit road.
Yeah, he drove a lap without even being able to see and didn't crash.
Let's see if we can take a look at what happened. We're gonna catch this a little bit late.
See, Johnny's already around. He either got turned around.
You see the left rear tire is definitely damaged, and you see the quarter panel is damaged as well. It sure looks like maybe that left rear tire went away.
Well, when they came across the start-finish line the lap before, Sauter was pushing Crafton. So we saw Sauter backwards all of a sudden. It'd be kind of hard to figure out how he could have gotten backwards, but
Matt Crafton, extensive damage to the front of that race truck on the right side.
It might have just been a two-truck tandem gone bad, Phil.
Yeah, we've seen that happen before. If you don't push them square, as we talked about earlier, you start pushing, favoring the left side in the corner. It just wants to push the trucks around.
This is going to be big.
Be interesting to see what Matt or Johnny would have to say about this. Obviously, Matt's pretty much figuring his day is done. We'll probably catch a word with him when he gets to the garage area and to know exactly what went on there.
These two trucks were running 25th and 26th. They had purposely went to the back of the field to try to run this two-truck tandem and work on it, and apparently it did not work. Now the field making their way back onto pit road, led by that 33 of Mike Wallace. Right behind him, the 2 of Ron Hornaday. Hermie.
With the 17 truck of Timothy Peters has been working with his teammate Miguel Paludo for the first part of this race, trying to work with that two-car tandem. They haven't got out on their own yet to try to perfect it. Looks like they may be going for 2 tires on this pit stop to try to get a little bit of track position. But Timothy Peters working well with his teammates so far, Ray.
4 tires for both of the KHI trucks, and Bruce Cook just came on the radio and reminded his guys for Ron Hornaday, make sure the lugs are all good and tight. Our trucks are excellent. We don't have to worry about losing spots. And it looks like the 2 and the 33 will leave pit road together once again.
Great pit work by Danny Stockman's bunch for Austin Dillon. Hermie?
As you can see, Johnny Sauter has come to pit road. Look at all the damage. A lot of damage to the right side, and especially the left front and left rear behind the rear tire of this 13 truck. These guys were running the two-car tandem all alone, and there you have it. They wrecked both trucks on the racetrack. Very damaging, not only to the racetrack, but to their championship hopes. They got a lot of work to do to this 13 to get it anywhere near competitive. A lot of damage to this truck.
Hermie, did they say anything on the radio as to what may have happened to cause this?
Nothing yet. They just, Johnny Sauter said, we're both tore up. That's all we've got from him so far. And hopefully we'll be able to find out exactly what caused this. And that's the flip side of, what can go wrong if you're working with your teammate. You can both go to, finish 1-2, or you can both end up wrecked like the 13 and the 88.
The 88, Matt Crafton climbed out of his race truck and was going to head to the infield care center, but Johnny Sauter trying to stick it out. He made it to pit road, and they are working on that. A championship still within his grasp if he can get that truck back out there and get a decent finish here at Talladega. The big ones happen at Talladega, and so far we haven't seen those big ones. We've seen the two truck tandems work between Wallace and Hornaday, but then the two truck tandem didn't work for Crafton and Sauter. Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. The trucks all in line once again. Two cautions have slowed the pace down here in Talladega. Now out in front, Austin Dillon and Ricky Carmichael 2 by 2. BJ McLeod gets the Aaron's lucky dog, gets a lap back as they're coming through the tri-oval. Green flag back in the air.
Let's see how quickly that the 33 of Mike Wallace and the 2 of Ron Hornaday can get hooked back up.
Let's give a shout out to Johanna Long too. She's up there inside the top 5, made her way, qualified inside the top 10, has made her way right to the front. That's impressive for her.
Jason White restarted this race in the 3rd spot. He was running just outside the top 10. A little pit strategy got him up front.
Remember early in the going down in Daytona, Johanna had a strong run, qualified well down there and held it up there inside the top 10 for quite a while. But here comes two guys that got the tandem truck draft figured out.
Looked like the 5 of Talladega wanted to get up against the back of James Bush in the 31. They couldn't quite do it. But watch this 2-truck tandem on the outside go for the lead.
Mike Wallace out in front. Ron Hornaday just behind him. They will move past Austin Dillon as well as Jason White up to the front of the field, go through the tri-oval, and they'll lead once again at Talladega.
Man, as a racer, you can't hardly stand to see that, Phil. You see what they're doing. You know what they're doing. Why not do it myself right now? But you have to show some patience at times. You have to understand the big picture. Austin Dillon racing for a championship. He doesn't know exactly how Jason White's front end will match up to his back end. So that would be risky. But as time ticks away, we get closer and closer to the finish, you're going to have to start taking some chances.
And remember, it's not that these guys didn't have any warning that this was going to happen. We've seen this type of racing for the last years, so they had to know that this is the direction it was going to go.
Just to explain, the second caution that came out involved the ThorSport Racing. Well, we didn't have an actual shot of the trucks involved in hitting the wall, but via Twitter, ThorSport Racing has announced that from what they hear, the 16 truck blew a tire in front of him. Crafton, who drove at Sauter into the fence, and now they're working on that 13 trying to get him back out there.
16 trucks, Donnie Neuenberger. He'd had some troubles earlier in the races with his hood flying off, blows a right front tire. You know, if Crafton gets out of the gas and Sauter can't see what's happening, it's going to cause a crash.
And let's find out from one of the players that was involved. Matt Crafton is now with Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, we appreciate Matt Crafton spending some time with us. Tough break for you guys. Tell us what happened on the racetrack. We understand maybe there's another truck involved in you in the 13.
The 16 blew a right front tire, and he got us at Daytona, and it looked like he got us again this weekend. It wasn't something that he did wrong. He popped the right front tire this weekend, and it's part of this tandem racing, and I saw him blow the tire, and they say teammate can't really see at that point pushing me, and I started to roll out of the gas just a little bit, and it just turned me around, and there's nothing I can do. It's just along for the ride. It's a shame because, I mean, this Menard Chevy was really, really good. I mean, we just fell to the back, and we were actually running that pack down. I mean, we were actually running faster than leaders were at that point. Just trying to be there at the end and came a whole short.
It just goes to show you there's really no avoiding all the potential trouble at a place like Talladega.
Thanks, Hermie. We're seeing on the right side of the screen, we had a very tight shot of the back of the 29 truck that Todd Ryan is pushing. He's pushed the bumper off of the back of that truck.
Yeah, they don't, like we said, they don't match up right. The trucks are all over each other. It's finally broken the bumper cover away from Kligerman's truck. Todd's moving around a lot, dodging around, and I think that's broke the back of that truck. They've joined the leaders, Phil. They've caught Wallace and Hornaday, and they will run faster than those two.
Ooh, they just came unhooked.
You see that break apart? That's because Kligerman's truck smelt the draft off of the Wallace and Hornaday trucks. He sped up, and Todd just couldn't stay glued to him, so they'll back off. That's what Kligerman did there. Tie back together and go after him again. A couple of trucks right behind these two is James Busher and Brendan Gaughan. They began the 2-truck tandem as well. So that's what happens. These guys get it figured out, and then the big pack, that fell apart, it all comes back together, just 2 trucks at a time.
Michael, you're better at this type of racing than probably any other driver, and a lot of people don't realize that in this situation, you have to drag the brake to make, if you're in front, to make sure you stay connected with two trucks staying together.
Well, there's different ways to do it. Talladega says he actually just runs about half throttle if he's in front. Brendan Gaughan said he drags the brake to do it. You have to achieve the same kind of thing, and it looks like Mike Wallace, Ron Hornaday have really figured out how to do it. But you see Parker Kligerman, Talladega, they just can't quite keep those trucks together.
Well, and that's because, like I said, Phil, Kligerman truck is getting a draft off of the two Harvick trucks.
Pulling them away
so
from
it's
Todd.
pulling them up there, and Todd's not able to keep up with him. So the wise thing to do for Kligerman was just to back off the gas. Oh, we got a little bit of a crowd there. You can see Jason White.
They're working their way through the high banks here. 4 wide on the outside. That's Josh Richards and Kyle Busch up top.
You can see what's happening there with Kyle. He's got a hold of his teammate, Josh, and he's shoving him to the front.
And watch this now. These guys would ideally want to go straight down the straightaway, not vary 1 inch. And you see these trucks moving around. That's because that back truck is pushing that truck all over the racetrack.
Staying up high. Pretty big bump there as they going through 3 and 4.
Because even if, say, Kligerman was half throttle, Phil, and he had the truck behind him pushing him top or down, they're still going to go faster than if Kligerman's wide open and they pull apart. So the front truck has a responsibility to just run fast enough to make sure those trucks stay tied together.
The halfway point at Talladega.
Oh, and
47 are complete.
It's getting tight.
We've got more pack.
See more people trying the two-truck tandem. You see up there, obviously, Kyle Busch, Josh Richards. We saw James Buescher trying it with a quasi teammate.
Yeah, and I think Jason White's got a hold of Austin Dillon now.